Hey, good morning. Happy as Jaybird. Global Independence Day, the real Independence Day. Okay? Go read the first paragraph of the Declaration of Independence. One of the great benefits of, how do I put this, learning fast. And I mean, you want to learn so fast because you are so much in love with who you are, which is the energy that you are. You go faster in speed. Wow. Now imagine that you have unlimited electrical potential because your creative imagination is off the charts. How fast and how far do you think your mind of intelligence and creative imagination are going to advance? Okay? In time. Time is just a concept. Everything is vibration. How fast are you vibrating? That's basic stuff. So I said to a gentleman in here who is an empath. It's beautiful how this works. Like me, it's a sponge. You know, you're picking up all the energy. What I do is collate it, okay, and then dump it. It's like a memory dump. Okay, so that's an alchemizer, a retuner. So I said, you realize that if your mind is being held captive, your civilization is not going to advance very far, is it? Nope. So this is why when you see children that are extremely creative and they're free to create and imagine what is possible in their own mind to do, that's self-empowerment. So imagine where that child is going to be when it is free to use the ideas and the imagination that they have, and they're free to put those into place because they have so much love in their heart that what is put in place, okay, is for the benefit of everybody because we benefit automatically by that. That means at the speed of our consciousness, what we're aware of and how much we're aware of because we created so much so fast. Use the exponential function, okay, over 7 billion people on the planet. And then measure that on a quantum scale, mapping the field, how much electrical potential that is and what it is we can create and thus experience and share with others. So when you measure that, quantify that, and qualify that in lower creation to higher creation, for these beings to be able to think that they're going to hold our mind's energy captive, you sort of get a scale of things when they chose to not be at peace with us, right? And as a result of that, they basically decided to commit suicide. Because what do you think we got? Stuff they can't imagine. They don't have that ability. Okay? It's like, excuse my French, not French, but no offense to a caveman, because we love everything that we create and give love to, right? So we know how to live in peace, love, harmony, and balance with others, no matter where you come from. We might be able to have a beautiful, thriving relationship with you. How do you think you build a thriving civilization? Okay? Measuring the evolution of your consciousness based on the speed at which you are learning how to go faster and mapping that. So when Kim Go-Gun, as a ground commander for Life Force Energy, said that it's over, declaring Global Independence Day. So things are going to change. The reality is going to change. Okay? Now I realize that, hell, the guy who's running this joint, I can't, this guy, as a result of everything that I've covered on my videos, doesn't have a clue what's going on. That's how bad it is. I mean, I was thinking to myself when I was in the bathroom, and I thought to myself, I had the good fortune. Of course, you know, I wrote my own timeline, so the author of your own timeline, right? You know the future result when you're running on that much light because you have that much love to give. You're able to know what your future is, of course. because you're vibrating off the charts automatically. So you already, and that's the benefit of having so much love in your heart. Okay, because you're aware of so much because of what I just described. So imagine a 4-year-old kid has got a father who's a brilliant mathematician and engineer. So I'm learning through all my dad's manuals because he went from being a fighter pilot in the Navy, he worked for Grumman, okay, and he was delivering airplanes before the war broke out in World War II to Pensacola Naval Air Station down there. So I'm looking at flight and mass and density and altitude and anti-gravity and gravity at a very, very young, childish age. So reading Superman comics, I'm already out there. So that becomes a frame of reference. So you begin to realize, because the speed at which you're wanting to learn, and you are learning and putting puzzles, which is an information library, together, you realize, man, when you're in an elementary school and junior high school, you realize, man, I'm way ahead of these kids. That's a crime in a classroom. Okay? And when you realize that there are students in a classroom that are afraid to ask questions and learn, put that into the hopper. How are you going to advance? They don't want you to advance. That's the point. They got no love for us. Because if you don't advance, hell, you're nothing more than a food source, a DNA source, a commodity in the galactic market. So the difficulty that so many people are going to have as this unfolds is being able to perceive something on a much larger, comprehensive scale. Remember reading comprehension? You know, the tests that they used to give us when I was in junior high school, they were called the Iowa State exams. And, you know, they go through all these aptitude stuff, how well can you do this? And these were all time tests, right? Much like if you take a test for, the military, or in my case, going to work for a city or a county fire department or the state, CAL FIRE, you take an exam. So, for example, they will give you a question, for instance, that says, okay, you got to respond to a fire, and they'll give you an exact address, and then they'll provide you a map. And then on that map, it'll show, for instance, that the city public works department has got this particular street closed off. Okay, so you can't use that street to get to the fire. And then it'll have all these little obstacles, which basically is they're measuring your ability to figure out really fast how to get out of a maze, how to get out of a matrix. Okay, so how fast can you do that? Because remember, on that question, we're talking about you got 2 minutes to get to that fire. Because that was our standard response time. That means jumping out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, jumping on a fire truck, and being able to get there within 2 minutes. Okay, well, I take that back. 2 minutes out of the bed, into a truck, and on your way. Right? So we had response time standards that we lived by to be able to respond and get there and take care of it, because what time is of the essence, right? Because then when shit hits the fan, it's going to start getting worse in time, over time. So you want to minimize the amount of damage because we love you. So unfortunately, over time, I began to realize that I was surrounded by people, and particularly from like 1970 forward, okay, there were a lot of people that came in there that weren't running the same energy I was, and others that I was working with. So I realized, man, these guys are flat. They're not showing any love to anybody as a medic when they go to treat somebody. So what they are is basically like robots. Put the information in their head, which is training, and then when they get to something, the person who's a patient doesn't feel any love from these beings. It's just like a robot treating you. I met a guy like that who was a surgeon. So I realized this guy isn't, if you got a guy that's not very confident in his abilities about to fix my arm, okay, by telling me that, well, if it doesn't go right this time, we're going to do a skin graft. What? And I could feel his energy, and it was flat. So I thought to myself, is this an android? Where's this guy from? So I thought, I'm not comfortable with this guy working on me, putting anesthesia in me. Would you? The first guy already botched it when I broke it a year ago. So that's not going to work. So this is an evolutionary problem, isn't it? an evolution in consciousness, right? And the things that we do with our mind. And when you're in love and service to others, because you love the energy that you not only want to thrive because you already are, because you got everything you are in energy, which means I don't need anything from anybody else in order to feel love and joy when I wake up in the morning. So that love and joy translates into things that I do with my energy that automatically benefit everybody around us. So that allows us to use our intelligence and our creativity for the benefit of everybody. That's why Global Independence Day has finally arrived. Thank you, Kim Gogoon, the ground commander, and Patty Broussard, the Earth Defense Forces commander. She's tribe, okay? I'm an Indian, just like she is. Former graduate, she was given a job to do. And in my mind, everybody has a good reason to send her flowers and say, thank you so much, Patty Broussard, because I looked at everything that she did. And I realized the impact of what she did, what could have happened had she not done what she did, would have been catastrophic for humanity. Most people have no idea who Patty Broussard is. That's how bad it is. That's another measurement, isn't it? So we can map the field, which means mapping all your experiences. And I mentioned on my Facebook page, mapping what's called your basal metabolic rate over time based on the amount of trauma that you're experiencing. Because your mind's held captive and running fear-based programs. Okay, which means, hey, I'm held captive. All my mind's energy is not being used to create anything. Yeah, that's a slave. That's a slave to a program. Okay, so you got to free up your RAM. Right? Yeah. So that allows you to go, wow, I'm really actually free. Can you believe that? Really? Yeah, really. I know what that's like. I've been like that all my life. And what does it do? It lights your battery like crazy. You realize you've learned how to be free, even though you're looking around you and realizing how many people are held captive. What happened? It's a speed measurement. How fast are you going? Okay?